5 of us to remind you.
Okay, so we had the approval of the November minutes. Mandy moved to approve, Dan seconded. Public meeting on the video conferencing policy minutes. Mandy motioned and Joe seconded. And we are now looking at resolution 2023-01-04, which is our video conferencing policy with an appendix, which is basically our exhibit A, which describes how we have interpreted the public officers law 103A. So I think for this, remind me, because this whole Robert's Rules of Order screws me up. We're just going to go down and do a roll call, right? We don't need to have any motions or anything. Okay. So
Somebody's got to make a motion to approve it in a second. And then vote.
okay, all right. Who would like to motion to approve this resolution? Pam, thank you. And second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Oh, thank you. All right, excellent. Okay, now we're going to do a roll call vote. So Joe?
Yes.
Yes. Jeannie? You
Yes. Oh, not yet.
Yep, not yet. So we're just gonna, yeah, because basically we have to approve this and then you can vote on the rest of it.
Okay.
Okay, that's why we moved it up. Scott was smart. He said, you gotta move that up because she's not gonna be able
Do
to help.
that first so they can participate.
Yeah, okay, Mandy,
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
She can't vote either.
Oh, that's right.
We haven't approved it.
Not
Oh,
good.
because we haven't improved it. That's right. Carol,
Yes.
Dan,
Right.
Pam,
Yes.
excellent. All right.
Now it passes 5-0. It's in effect. So now they all.
All right, you guys can vote on all the rest of this stuff. Go wild and go crazy. All right. Joe, what I'm gonna do is I'm doing these and then I'm gonna give them to you because your scanner is better. If you don't mind scanning them into the share drive, my scanner is like crap. All right. Next up is we would like to welcome our new secretary to the board, Jeannie Fitzgerald. Welcome, Jeannie.
Thank you. Yay.
So Jeannie will be with us remotely for part of the year and then be with us face to face in the beautiful weather because I guess she doesn't want to have snow go sideways into her generator. I don't know why. It's so much fun. Jeannie, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'm excited to be part of the board. Carol told me I was going to be a board member, and then Mary told me I'm going to also be the secretary. So, you know, I know Carol. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Maybe over a glass of wine or something. No, I don't mind at all. And I bring a lot of experience being on multiple boards throughout my career. So I'm really excited to be able to contribute to Cape Vincent. It's, you know, my husband is born and raised in Cape, and I've made it basically my second home. So I'm very, very excited to contribute to this board.
Well, we're very excited to have you. Thank you for accepting it. All right, next up, Scott, your report, and Scott did send out ahead of time his monthly report, so we do have that. But Scott, over to you.
Most of this month will be quarterly reporting in the year for the state. So all the quarterly reports will be in this month. I did quite a bit of the work in December.
I can't, I'm having a hard time hearing Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can't hear
yeah,
him.
Scott, if you could speak up a little bit.
Okay, sorry. Most of the work this month will be quarterly reporting. State's end of the quarter in December 31st. Some of the reporting I did complete last month and have in a position to submit this month. They asked to hold off this month in case anything changed, which do got some updates today as some things have changed. The village just received at like 4 o'clock this afternoon all the Army Corp permits to start work at East End Park. So that was quite a long process that moving forward now. And then on the town and village LWRP, that's the one that EDR has been working on for like 12 years. The state asked if I would take over and finish it for EDR and kind of move them out because they're not doing what they're asked. So I cleared 2 hours on Monday and met with them and took care of all the grant portions. And then Dan and Pam gave me permission to move forward with the rest today. So Tuesday, we've got a 3-hour window blocked out for the state and I to sit down and they do it all online. They're gonna pull up this 100-page report and we're gonna go through each section that needs comments changed and we're gonna work on it together and hopefully have a end product for the town and the village to adopt in the next 2 weeks for 60-day review.
And so Scott, will that be on the town or villages books or will we be paying for your time on that?
That wasn't discussed. I just said, I'll keep track of my hours and we'll figure it out if I go over my hours for you guys.
It was a town and village started event, so I believe it might fall back on us, but I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I'm just gonna keep track of those hours separately and
Right.
if you guys feel they're within your hours, if you feel it's extra work and the town and village wants to pick it up, they just said, we'll have that discussion. I just want to get it done for them.
Oh, yeah, no, we all want to get it done. It's
Because
just
once
as
it
we
is-
think about what we're using you for in our limited hours, we just need to know who's paying for what.
This goes back to some of our previous conversations. I just do it and we'll figure it out. Like, I just
Scott, is
wanna get done.
EDR a different consultant?
EDR is an environmental consultant out of Syracuse that they went through a request for proposal process probably 5 or 6 years ago. The town got a $75,000 grant. This firm was hired. They were paid $75,000 to get an acceptable report. They have failed to do that. They came back to the town last year and asked for more money and the town said, we're not paying you any more money. You proposed on a project. You said this is what the cost was. You didn't produce the product and finish it. And they've had some changeover in staff and not blaming anybody. They have a younger staff member on it that I think is an over her head. And when the town said, we're not paying you any money, they weren't going to allocate any more resources to it. They're just letting this girl sink on her own, I think,
Wow.
which is very unfortunate. And so the state asked if somebody else could step in and get it finished because they want to get it done too. They've already given the town a number of extensions and really need this document adopted so we can use it to seek funding. Like it highlights a bunch of future projects and it shows public support through the meetings for future projects. So when we do additional applications, it's good to have that as an accepted document to say, hey, we went through the process and here it is. So hopefully by Irene from Department of State, her goal is her and I finish it on Tuesday and she gets legal approval by Thursday or the following Tuesday, so I can go to the village board meeting and the town board meeting and say, here's the final accepted by their legal department for 60-day review. So at that point, it would be sent out to every agency in the state as here is an adopted 60-day review and they all have 60 days to comment on it. And we'll also complete the seeker for the town because the EDR was supposed to do that and never has. They're supposed to do it for you last month and didn't. So I'm going to do the seeker for the town to adopt and start that 30-day review process as well. And at least try to get it done in the next 60 days. So by the time the next round of grants are announced in May, it's already adopted and approved by the state. So
And I know, I think Pam, we talked about maybe in the February meeting, taking this group through that. And if things go on that timeline, we'll probably have a good idea if it's pretty close to, right,
Yes.
being able to review at that point.
it should be, yeah, I hope to have it to the village by their next meeting and the town's first meeting in February.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll put that on the agenda for February, Pam, and then you can let me know if we have to scuttle it, because there's a bunch of comments in the 60 or 30-day review
Mhm.
kind of thing. Okay, great.
East End Park, the village opened bids. They were well over the Bernie and Carr estimate. The engineers were working with the low bidder to reduce the scope of the project to get under the $3.1 million. I believe we're there. And they can start work as soon as the village awards contract, now that we have the permit in place today. So they have to be done by November. If they're not done by November and the village has to go for another year on the band, it's gonna cost the village $120,000 in interest. So we made it clear they gotta be in and out and paid and closed by November.
A big project.
It is,
Mhm.
it's a big project that was supposed to be done 2 years ago. So it's been a long time coming, so. the other projects on the village side are complete. There was a lot of damage from the Christmas storm to Essentine Dock. The ramp portion of it blew off the rollers, and the dock company and the contractor are covering it 100% under warranty, and they're kind of trying to redesign it so it never happens again in the future. The dock company is taking responsibility and not charge anybody for it. So
Jerry thought it held up pretty well.
the dock itself held
Felt
up
that it was
pretty
just that
well. The
connection
ramp
piece.
came off the rollers and
Right.
caused some damage.
Well, it's good they're gonna cover it with warranty though.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
I mean, that wasn't, hopefully an odd storm that we all lived through.
The governor still hasn't announced any DRI or New York forward yet. I had a meeting with Empire State Development last week on another project and brought it up. And he said, Scott, they're sitting on the governor's desk in this long line of whenever press agencies want to release it, it'll be released. They're sitting there. So, her budget proposal is next week. And I said, how do you go and ask for another $200 million when you haven't handed out the $200 million from last year yet? And they kind of agreed with me. So we're hoping that it'll be announced in the next week. Some positive feedback. I take it as a positive. Jerry got invited to her inauguration. I didn't get invited as the mayor of West Carthage to her inauguration, and I'm a registered Democrat, and other mayors that I know didn't get invited to her inauguration, but Jerry got a personal invitation, so taking that as it might be a good sign.
So he's going.
No, he didn't go.
Oh.
Getting him to go to Clayton and stand next to her this summer was hard enough for me. Like, he was swearing at me when I told him he had to go to Clayton. He didn't go, but he was invited, and I think that's a good sign when a lot of people I know weren't. So. Other than that, just gonna get all these reporting in and reimbursement requests for the town on Plum Street. I met with Marty twice in the last 2 weeks to get all those things together so we can submit those. And there.
I had a couple of questions. So do we know yet why we didn't get this, well, I'll call part 2 of East End Park and the covered ice rink? You were gonna talk with people to understand why we didn't get those grants?
We haven't scheduled a meeting with Parks and Rec yet on the ice rink.
Okay,
We have got some good feedback on East End Park. Some of it has to do with the deeds weren't in place yet because they had just purchased the land, and so there's some proof of ownership that needs to be submitted. They were very encouraging for us to submit again this year, and they can go back 3 years, so the cost to purchase the property still can be recovered through the grant process. So they were very supportive of submitting again. We've had 2 conversations with them. So, and some of the work, actually, we can probably, the last conversation I had with them, some of the work that we're taking out of East End Park, we can probably include in the next application with this phase 2 and try to get back in the phase 2, which probably would strengthen the application as well. And then they still haven't announced the shared service grants either. We looked at doing the study for a shared municipal
shared
building.
building, yeah.
Those still haven't been announced.
Okay. I had a couple of just understanding questions. So on page 1 of your report, you said working with Edgewater to complete reconnaissance support. What is reconnaissance support? Just for my own education.
The reconnaissance report is what the state calls it. And it was a full, I can support it to everybody. I just got it last week. It's like a full survey of the land. It's a topograph of.
I don't need to see it. I just didn't know what it was.
It's a definition of what's there for land. It's almost like a survey of the property and the land, and so they needed to complete that before they would, because that was one of the tasks in the first phase.
Who had to complete that? The state?
Edgewater.
Edgewater did it. Okay.
And we were really waiting on a topo map. That's what held it up the most. And instead of paying them to come up here and do it, Bernie and Carr gave us one that the village paid for the Essentine Dock Jerry said, we've already paid it for it, telling them to release it to you, so it just took us a little while to get it from Bernier Car. So that is complete. I'll forward it to you just so you can see what it is. It's pretty detailed. So that was the last thing they needed to finish their phase one and cut that out.
So on the Edgewater stuff, I mean, I know that there's been some meetings and some payments, kind of reading through this. Said you need to schedule a committee meeting to move the design forward. So is the design done?
No, we have like the preliminary report that everybody's seen. and
We've all
reviewed
seen
with the
that, yeah.
phases. They haven't been told by the committee or the town what direction they want to move forward with design. So that's going to be the next step.
And is that,
I talked to Marty last week about, we need to schedule a committee meeting. I think Christine's still in charge of the committee maybe. So
She
I
is.
can reach out to her and have her schedule a committee meeting so we can get some direction forward.
all right, so is that,
But
so
it's
it says, so is that something you're gonna try to do between now and
February, yes.
February? Okay. all
But
right.
part of that is we need some direction on the property too.
Right, and I assume we'll go into
Yeah.
executive session to discuss that and not record that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good, all right. I had one other probably dumb question.
No,
Am I like the only one that has questions on these?
No, these are great questions. I'm so glad you have them.
Okay, so, okay, no, you actually already answered that one in your update. I think that was it. Yeah, it was really the reconnaissance. I was just like, what the heck is that? Never heard of that term.
Marty has had another meeting with State Parks and Rec about Tibbetts Point.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it went well to the point where they may be able to have a public meeting soon and with some additional details.
Well, it was certainly in the front page of the Thousand Island
I
Sun.
saw that in there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
he had another meeting with them. I wasn't involved in it, but he told me it went well and that they said it could be 9 months to a year and he asked them to speed it up. The impression I got.
So Dan, my question would be, what's the communication with the Lighthouse Board?
They're involved in all of it. The White House Historical Society. or
Yeah.
whatever, They're involved. in it.
Yeah, because like I'm on the board and I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah.
So-
Mike's been involved with it.
Okay,
He's
So-
he's
so-
sat in on meetings with the state with Marty. and
okay.
He's abreast of what's going on.
All right, so when other board members say something to me, Mike's whose cage I have to rattle. That was my question. Okay, good, because I'm like, I don't know any more than you do.
Yeah, no, he's been involved
Okay, all right, super.
on behalf of that board.
And as far as the shoreline, I think Marty said they're gonna try to finish up the rock work this week and then.
They've been moving rock, let me
He
tell
said-
you.
He said they're gonna try to finish it up this week and then all they need to do in the spring and bring in the fence company and put the fence back.
Been an awesome year for that.
So,
Yeah.
Low water and
Did they have any damage, any additional damage with this storm?
he said it held up really well.
Well, that's
so
a
that
good
held up
test.
well. And then
That's a good
the
test.
Point Street that the village built, didn't, Marty said that one rock didn't even move.
Oh, that's
And
great.
wall that the village built there with the writing money.
Good.
So,
Good.
Town and village staff are doing a great job with those.
Probably good the water was low.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that, Dan. All right, any other questions for Dan or for Scott? No? All right, officer reports. I have no additional items to report other than other things in the meeting. Mandy?
Nothing.
No? Jeannie, you're new, we figure no. Do you want to do a treasury report or do you want to just go right down to the financial report, Carol?
We can, yeah.
I know, that's kind of,
But I know, I
at
was,
some point, we might actually have stuff. I don't want to.
I really didn't know what would go here and what would go there, so.
Yeah, okay, over to you.
So financially, the village has transferred $63,823.90 into our bank account, so that's nice. So we have money. We have a checking account set up with a lovely logo on the checks. I've got online access to the bank account. QuickBooks is set up. The checks were printed through QuickBooks, so I feel like I had a good month there. Finally.
And we also have a savings account,
And
right?
we have a savings account as well,
Yeah.
which you,
Yeah.
you have to have apparently. Oh, and I did speak with the bank today because they charged us a $5 service charge on the savings account. And so they waived the service charge on the checking account, but the savings account has to have at least $50 in it, which only had $20 in it. But anyway, she's giving it back to us. I moved some money in the savings account, so that won't happen again, but it was just a, don't understand. Well, it actually happened in December before we didn't.
Right, yeah, well,
Limited
yeah,
account.
because it was like I had how much cash I had in my wallet and said split it between the two to open the account. It's like,
So then my thought is that, you know, like next month, I'll actually have a financial report. We had this income, we had this flow, you know, but we haven't had, we had everything start in January.
and
So
do I remember right, Mary said that she'll actually give us a little more money, right? Or was this?
yeah,
the full-
no, this was the village money. The town money will be coming. But this was her village. I
No.
think,
No, the town money is in there. I think she,
that's the
The
town.
first, the
Did I
first
misunderstand that?
For last year,
2022's
money is
is in there, and then 2023's will come after we collect taxes.
so 2023s will come
Which is
from the
when for the
town in March
Mhm.
March.
and the village in June.
Okay.
So what, but I
So there's
thought.
no
when-
more town money. I gotta reread her
No
email
more,
then.
no more town money. I think she had to still reconcile some of the village money, because everything we had that we needed to spend in 22, the village just paid for.
Exactly.
So I think she's still reconciling. That's the way I read it. Just double check it. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the money that Mary transferred over was from the town because the town had to get it out of their account.
Right, yeah, that's the
Okay.
60, that's the 60,000 part.
All right,
The
see.
3,000 is the village part, but I thought in her email, it sounded like she wasn't sure she had given us all of it. But, yeah. Okay, well, that's good. We have money to pay bills and pretty
We do.
checks.
Yeah.
Yay.
Carol, you know
Scott?
how to get a hold of Mary Ruff if you have any.
I do,
questions.
yeah, and she's been, you know, she's good, she's quick to respond and, yeah. So wrote some checks, reimbursed Mary. Do anybody else have any reimbursements? Dan in particular, do you have anything known to you?
I got some office supplies.
Yeah, so throw me some receipts and or scan them to me or whatever, and I'll, yeah. So I kind of figure I'll bring checks each time we have a meeting and.
Yeah.
It works out, it's before the 15th for Scott, so,
Well, that sounds great.
so
Alright.
that's all I got.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Sharon, over to you. RFP form and process.
Okay, great. Oh, well, it didn't work so much on the process, but I worked on updating the template. So based on, you know, I had sent that out to the government governance committee. So based on the feedback I got, I tried to incorporate the changes, include some of the comments there. Took a crack at one of the appendices is the conflict of interest checklist. It's very minimal right now, but I, you know, kind of took a crack at a few items that we would, you know, require for anyone submitting a proposal to, you know, address potential conflict of interest. So that's been updated. And so I posted it out on the Google Drive. There's a folder out there now called For Review. So if everybody wants to have a look and see if that's applicable. So for this first template, I actually pulled in the information from the planner position just because that's the only one that was fully fleshed out, you know, and that we actually could use. So that's where the content came from, just to see how that would work. I think the plan is to see if this same format would work, you know, for the accountants or whatever. So I guess just if everybody wants to have a look at it, see if you think it's, you know, appropriate, if it's overkill, you know, I guess just let me know. We'll go from there.
Great. So I know we want to get an accounting firm so we can start our 501(c), right, Carol?
Mhm.
So can we do what feels like a reasonable due date? You know, so it's great that she's got it out there for review, but we really should try to get it done. Are you okay with us waiting to approve it until the February meeting, or there's two ways we could do this? Or do you want to say, all right, she kind of dry runned it with planner because that was something we had. Do we want to try to just use it for an accounting firm and then see if we have any other changes before we totally adopt it? I mean, what do you guys think? I just worry that, you know, time is, I don't know what the timing is. I know the 501(c) is going to take us time.
It is, but again, it won't change how we operate or do anything. We're not soliciting public donations.
Right? So
It's not it's not mission critical.
all right, so
But I do think it should move along and get moving. 'cause-
Yeah, so what I'm wondering is, do we want to come up with a due date to get feedback back to governance so that they can then sort of present at the February meeting as part of our agenda, a resolution to adopt it or to, I don't know, to try it maybe, I don't know what would be the right word, with the accounting firm, because that's really the next thing we have to do, right? So what do
Sounds
you,
good. Yep.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, yeah, that sounds good to me. Just if everybody's like, yep, we're good with that format, the, type of information we're looking for. And then I guess I'd need to sit down with Carol and others to find out, okay, how do we now populate the content for, directing it towards the accounting firm?
for accounting, for the 501.
Yeah.
And the auditing, right? Everything we need to.
Yeah.
For what we want in that.
Yeah.
For that particular RFP.
All
Right.
right, so I was gonna say, so today's the 12th. Our next meeting is, anybody know what the next meeting is?
Yeah.
And then 9th, I think.
It could be the 9th, that makes sense. So if it's the 9th, want to give Sharon time, could everybody be done looking at it by like is the 30th like a weekday?
30th is Monday.
Yeah, could everybody be done doing it by the 30th? And then that, Sharon, would give you and the governance committee chances to react to those changes?
Yeah, that sounds good. And it's really pretty minimal. It's not too lengthy, so to go.
So I'll put that in as an action item in the minutes.
Are we gonna incorporate the fact that we're gonna need an accounting firm for auditing?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna look for one for a 501c3.
Oh, yeah, we want that to be the same accounting
gonna
firm
be
that's gonna do
inclusive
our
of this.
annual audit. And yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one firm that does it all.
Yeah.
So that would be in the proposal request, right?
Correct,
yeah.
So we're looking at Sharon's document to say, oh yeah, this is a good format for an RFP
Yeah,
all the
right.
time.
Yes.
And then once we agree to that, then some of us will get together
To write what would you?
Right.
just for this particular.
Great content.
Perhaps with that, so this RFP for the accounting firm is what we're saying we need first.
Yes.
Are we saying the finance committee should write that or?
That would be so at least what I'm thinking is that the governance committee, take all their input, finalize and say, we think this is, based on everybody's input, this is what we recommended the finance committee to use.
Mhm.
And then the finance committee would put everything into the format to go for the CPA,
And figure out who we want to send it to and whatnot.
all of that. Yeah,
I wouldn't be afraid to use Tracy either. Or take a look at it.
that's true.
They got a lot of experience with it.
Yeah, and they might have some, well, we need to know who to send it to too, with some ideas.
Some
I mean,
ideas.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, the town and the village both have different accounting firms, as I recall.
I think so.
No, they both use the same.
Oh, do they? It's lawyers that are.
And they're
different.
the
You guys
only,
use
and
different
and
lawyers.
literally Bowers is the one in Watertown that would be the best fit for a nonprofit, but maybe we don't want, doesn't have to be in Watertown.
Yeah,
Is there anything we have that says we have to send it to all? Like, I
No,
know when we do stuff at work, we
Oh.
have to,
all,
like, if we're inviting or working with a non-for-profit, we have to send it to everybody fair. It's just how we have to do it for federal, I don't know.
You can just post it, even,
Okay.
like your contract reporter, there's websites that municipalities can post for free. I just forwarded everybody audit RFP from an agency somewhere else.
Good.
Hampstead or something,
good.
just so you can review it.
oh, that's
Great.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's like New York State contract reporter, you can sign up for free and like they post RFPs for all kinds of services. So other firms, like I check it daily for grant writing and administration. So I mean, there's places you can post it for free.
Well, that would be
Okay.
good. Scott, can you send me information on that as well, how you would do that? Because that might take care of that, Mandy, right? We put it out there and then,
Then it's like fair. I guess that's the thing. is
yeah,
that
you want to have that fairness
Mhm.
to it, yeah, but
we
also,
can
you know,
still send it to certain people individually, as long as it's out there.
Right, it's
I don't
posted.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
what we have to do for our legal.
yeah, that's perfect. That takes care of that. Great. All
It'd
right,
be good to see
so,
that. That'd be good to see the format of that, their RFP template too, because we may end up saying, we just sort of, pulled ours together from various sources or, experience any of us had. So maybe even that one that you were talking about, Scott, we might say, oh, scrap ours, let's use their format, so that'd be good to see.
Yeah,
Anyway,
this is the
so,
newest one that's on there, so I just sent it to you. I don't know what it's.
great.
it's auditing services, so.
Thank you. Hey,
And
Sharon,
Mary-
remind me who's on governance?
So it's myself, Mandy, Nadira, and it was Kathy. So Mary sat in her absence. Oh, so I guess that will be Jeannie.
Well, so I told Jeannie there's two subcommittees and Kathy was on both of them and she's gonna let us know where she wants to, play.
Okay, sounds good.
We won't
And-
make you decide now, Jeannie.
So we won't put you on the spot.
You know, Sharon, the governance committee is one I'm intrigued by, just due to my background. But also, I've done a lot of RFP work, and I'm thinking, even if we do a standard template of the Ts and Cs of our RFPs, and then add an attachment that identifies specific statement of work of the criteria of what we're procuring towards. Or it can also be considered a service agreement that has the criteria of what we're procuring towards. Then we can utilize the template as our legal language for our RFP protocol, but then you can adapt it based on what we're procuring for.
Oh, I like
that
that.
may
Yeah,
be-
just keep that part out as a separate. Oh, yeah, I like that. Just have all the boilerplate stuff up in the main body.
That way we can adapt to any procurement initiative that we want.
Yeah.
And that's pretty standard, but again, Sharon, I haven't looked at it, but I will. And,
Okay.
you know, I'll commit to be on your committee because that,
Okay.
I've done a lot of procurement and I've responded to a lot of RFPs. So
Right.
it just.
Yeah,
having
that'd be
some
great.
Standard, okay.
Yeah, because this is pretty basic. And yeah, even just when you were talking, I thought, oh, yeah, the way that the SOW section in their statement of work section in there right now isn't probably quite right. So yeah, that'll be great if you have a look at that. And then Mary, one thing you were saying, if I understood, so once it's agreed upon, we make edits or, I'll agree on the template. Did you say now we'll have to vote on a resolution basically saying adopting this?
I think we do. Again, some of this, you gotta have a resolution and a motion and when you have to say everybody says yes, kind of thing. But I think we would want to do a resolution to say we're adopting this process in this format for all outgoing RFPs.
Okay.
And we could add something in there that says part of our process is we put it on the contractor, New York State contractor site, and that gets us out of the, we can call other people and say, make sure you apply for this, but that way we're. So, yeah, so I think we'll have to do a
Next step.
resolution for the February meeting, which would be number 5.
Sounds like the governance committee needs to meet between now and then.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, so I'm wondering, do you think 3:30 is too far out for all of us to review? So you guys have time for a meeting?
We should move that 1:30 up.
Yeah, I'm
as a later
thinking,
date.
yeah, and I put, yeah, there you go, 3:30 would be way too late.
Yeah.
It had 2 things in it. So let's see, today is the 12th. Do you want to do some stuff to it before we look at it, Sharon, or you want us to look at it as is?
I'd say look at it as is. Like I say, when Jeannie was just mentioning that, I thought, oh yeah, we probably need to rework some of the statement of work stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't look at it. Let's not, maybe we don't all comment on the order of things or the way they are in the document, but just as something say, like, why are we asking this? Or don't you think we should also ask that?
Right,
It's kind of just
right.
that kind of a thing.
I used some forms too from another RFP I just submitted on that has like non-collusion documents and things like that you just might want to review.
Okay.
Some of them are
Yeah.
related to construction projects, but they're just.
Yeah, it'll give us things to look at. So we can look at some of the things Scott sent, but let's move up that 1:30 date. So Sharon, you have a chance to get the governance committee. I won't be part of that now that Jeannie's in. I just stepped in because you guys were short one. And then I'll stay on finance.
I think give us a week to look at this stuff.
Right, so that would be the 19th, right?
Right, because it's not too extensive,
All right, so that date's moved up to now 1/19, and then that would give you guys a chance to meet. We can put the resolution paperwork together. We'll go back and forth on that, Sharon. I mean, it's kind of boilerplate at the front and an addendum in the back, so, or an exhibit, I guess we call them exhibits.
And then I'll find out here pretty quickly. I think there's some official things we have to do now too, as far as governance committee. We have to
Oh,
There was-
review the
we have to
rules and.
post it 5 days in advance, post the agenda, or that we're having a meeting or something. I think we have some rules around
Yeah,
the,
it's all in the policy stuff there.
yeah, I'll double check that, make sure we.
And
don't
Joe
miss
is great
those
about
dates.
getting stuff on our website.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll reach out to you, Joe.
Okay, Club Street, we don't have any report. But we probably will, because there's gonna be a meeting and then we'll have a report. All right, update on executive director position, Pam and Sharon. You guys were gonna look at the one that we had. So what,
We did, and Sharon did
We
a
did.
wonderful spreadsheet that's going to be very helpful. So why don't you
Yeah,
tell
I've
them?
got a few bullet points on that. So when we started looking into it, Pam had a great suggestion. She said, let's sort of rack and stack, or, kind of see where we have overlaps of some of the other board roles and responsibilities, and, what we have, what's in the in our policies for what the executive director should do, what we have written up in our initial draft of the proposed position description, just see if those are still in sync and like that. So I put together a spreadsheet that's also out in that for review folder for everybody to have a look at. And then what happened as we're starting to look through it, we did see several areas that seemed like overlap, where it's like, gosh, it's saying the executive director should do this, but really I think that's being done or already by the treasurer, or should it be done by the treasurer? So you'll see in the file where we annotated in blue, kind of those questions, like, seems like this overlaps with, for example, the treasurer, another position. So, so we had to look at it, under that. So, for overlaps, so if everybody wants to have a look there. And then also when we were looking at it, a lot of the tasks were administrative, and then there were some tasks that were more of what I would consider kind of a leadership role. So, that's another thing too, not to go through it now, but as everybody's looking through that spreadsheet, maybe, have a look at that as far as an executive director, which direction that would go in, kind of like what their sort of authority would be. I know there was one in there that says that they were in charge of the day-to-day management of the CVLBC. So we were kind of saying, well, what does that mean? What do we want that to mean? So I guess if everybody will have a look at it under, sort of those eyes too, if we see this as more administrative, if we see it as more leadership, if more leadership, how does that, we'd have to clearly define the role of the chair versus executive director, because in the bylaws, Mary, I'm sure you've seen, it's very general for the chair. Of course, it's signing deeds and like that. And other than that, it pretty much says, and do great things too. So yeah, if everybody
it's
wants
okay doing it, because I just have to do great things.
no, it's, but yeah, so just for something for, I guess, us to collectively decide how that would break out. And I guess the other thing, when Pam and I were talking, having said all of this, I guess, do we feel that we even need an executive director this first year, in terms of spending the money? Obviously this first year, it definitely wouldn't be a full-time position, and we don't have any projects of our own. So when you see where the overlaps are and how things are already being accomplished, kind of with the team members we have already, does it even warrant having somebody in this position yet? So I guess, again, if everybody wants to have a look at that spreadsheet, see where we've annotated it, comments, questions.
So how do you guys, so I know on the RFP documents, those are Word documents, so you can just comment on those. How do you want us to do the comments on the spreadsheet? Do you want us?
Oh yeah, good call.
I mean, you can do comments on a spreadsheet, but I didn't know if that was going to get clunky.
Right, it
Add another
may.
column for comments.
Yeah, that
yeah,
might work.
that sounds good. And just maybe, put your initials, whatever, and then the comment. So if we have, multiple comments. Yeah, that sounds good.
So we're going to add comments in comment column.
Yeah.
and with our initials.
Thought of that. Thanks for that.
Okay, all right. So again, that's going to be another action that's in the
Mhm.
for review folder.
Yes.
You guys want to try to do that also by the 19th or do that one by the 30th? Give us some more time on that one. I mean, I just know people are busy
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think by 30th is fine.
by the 30th. Okay.
Yeah, I think the 30th is going to be more realistic just because some of the questions will involve like a lot of thought, bits are like, what does this
Uh-huh.
really mean? Or how do we, how would we propose that this goes? So I think that'll take a little bit to go through,
Okay.
have a think about.
Great. Good, good.
That's-
Thanks for
that's where
doing
we're
that work,
at.
guys. Excellent. All right, Joe, website.
All right. I haven't had a ton of time to do the website stuff, so I apologize in advance for that. But I spoke with Mary. We registered capeldc.org. So we have capevincentldc.org and Cape. I think capevincentldc.org should stay in the letterhead, but for internal purposes and anything in town, which is most of what we do, we could use Cape
Mhm.
LDC. I checked the New York State website and the compliance list. I don't see anything about the domain needing to have the full town name in it. So I think Cape LDC would work fine with that, Scott. I don't know if you know.
No, I think you're fine. I think like
Yeah.
Jefferson County is not Jefferson County, LDC and JCIDA. And I
Yeah.
think they shorten them all.
Okay, yes, I think it's easier, a lot shorter. I put all the meeting dates for 2023 on the event meeting page. So that's up there. I still have a few emails to send out. One's to everyone about the credentials to meet the compliance section for that, just everyone's start date on the LDC, their professional background, their current employer. I'll take all the information, but I'll double check what needs to be on there, because I don't think we have to put stuff that the state doesn't require on their
Yeah.
current employer.
So with the start date, I mean, we all sort of, many of us started,
Right.
Before. Do we want to agree that we're all going to say we're
The start
starting
date
in
is the date of
January?
incorporation.
Or, yeah, we could say, because most of us could say
I would
that,
go with the date of incorporation.
which, well, the date of our first meeting when we probably got 10/27.
Yeah,
So everybody's start date other than Jeannie's will be,
yeah, the date we.
and then Jeannie's would be today.
Does that get us in a situation with an audit? I know Tracy said at this point, we don't need to do an audit for 2022.
Right, yes. good
Does that
point.
affect? I mean, I
So,
don't,
I mean, we could say everybody's start date is today.
I could ask Tracy, I have to send her an email about the conflict of interest policy too.
Yeah,
So I think
good,
it
yeah,
may not
what,
matter, but we don't want to set ourselves
Yeah.
up to have that
yeah, that's a
audit
good
for
point. We want to
2022.
avoid the audit at this
What are
point.
the town appointments? Like, is it January 1? You just want everybody's date to be January 1 except Jamie's? Like, when are you gonna replace them with town?
Well, technically, we're not even gonna say our resolution of saying we're all on the board is.
Well, we're doing
one of
that
these,
tonight, right?
Is tonight.
So we're appointing us all as of 1/1 again, but we were all appointed once in October.
Yeah, I
That's
would,
a
I
good
would ask
Tracy
Tracy
question.
that.
Ask Tracy.
It probably doesn't matter,
Mhm.
because I remember her saying, you're lucky. they're
Yeah.
not gonna
Right,
make you
yeah.
Do an audit for 2022, because initially they thought we would have to.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so that was great. It
Just
was,
make sure if we use 10/27 or whatever the date is. that
yeah, it
isn't
was
gonna
10/27.
She's a fast responder. I've only had to talk to her twice,
She's
but
awesome,
she's,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
And aside from that, all the photos on the website are, we have permission to use, so that main splash picture is good to use. I have permission on everything documented in emails, so for some reason, years from now, we get, hey, you have permission to use the picture on the meeting section. I could pull up everything, so we get in trouble. I'm gonna email Mary Rupp and Michelle Bashar,
Mhm.
so we could exchange links on the town and village sites and our site. We'll put the town links on there. I have a few other updates I'm gonna do, just aesthetics, but. I think
It looks
for us to
beautiful.
be-
It really is a beautiful website.
It's getting there. I might change the colors. I don't know if that should be something we discuss, if we wanted to. I could make 5 different versions and just have an internal I could email it to everyone, see what they like. It's all black and white, looks sharp, or I don't know if there's any
Sounds good.
long-term marketing problems with the blue. It looked nice. I left it there, forgot to change it, so.
It's
blue
always
right now,
nice on a day when the river's blue.
It could change with the seasons. We could do.
Yeah, there you go. I honestly, Joe, I trust whatever you decide personally.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's shaking their head, so whatever you'd like, it will be fine with us.
And I'm gonna send you an email, Scott, about the projects, the past projects we should list for
Yeah.
accomplishments before the LDC was formed. That's about it.
Okay, and also update on office signage status. Wow, that's a ton.
I went to the office, I measured the door, the windows, everywhere we could put a sign. I assume that big blank area to the right of the door, I left that. I think that's part of the insurance agency. I don't want to get that confused with our space.
Yeah, I think we do something on the windows.
Yes, I
Maybe
spoke to
so.
Mark at Stewart Signs. He was suggesting a big magnet for the door would be the best.
Hmm,
Because the door is beveled, so you can't put any vinyl signage on there. It'll be a quick, cheap, easy, temporary, just so we have it. Get it
Oh,
in a
nice.
week.
Okay.
That's $75 for that. There are hooks underneath the big bay window. I don't know if there's a sign there previously for whoever was there.
I don't remember.
It's pretty low to the ground. That might be a little pricey. I don't know if we want to go down that road. For a bigger
If the
sign.
if the magnet one is,
That would
Take
be
up
on the
pretty much
inside of the office, right? Or would that be on the outside?
The outside.
Oh,
It'll
it is.
it'll take up most of the door under the window.
Yeah,
That's
I think
on
I think
there.
that's, that should, and if we're ever in the parade, we just throw it on a car.
there you go, there you go.
Or
Well,
our chairman
then-
in the car and let her wave the whole way.
Princess Way.
So I'll design that. I'll email it to everyone. If everyone's okay with it, I'll talk to Mark. get that
Yeah,
done.
that'd be great. Then you just
$75.
get a receipt and then
Yeah.
you get reimbursed.
Yep.
Carol, with a fancy check.
With the fancy check.
With
the
the
logo on
fancy
it,
check.
Joe made.
Okay, so,
Slap on the door and we're
They
good.
can just email me the bill because they know.
oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is different. All
Yeah,
your signs.
yeah.
Yeah, I figured leaving the window open would be good because we talked about maybe putting a monitor inside at some point so
Mhm.
people that walk by can see a PowerPoint presentation. you
What,
could make
what
or
we're working
something.
on and, you know, now Scott, do you have a key? Like, are you using the office?
I'm not yet. My key, Jay still has my key from G&G.
I think I still got an extra one.
Yeah, he still has my key when he was having the public meetings for the DRI. He never dropped it off and I've asked him twice to mail it to me and I haven't seen it yet, so.
Because it would be, I don't know, my feeling is it would be good when you're in town on Thursdays if you were actually working in there. I mean, that's up to you, but it just
No, I
seems
can-
like, I mean, it seems like we're paying for this office and nobody's ever in it.
I definitely can sit in there and work in there and have like, when I've been meeting with Marty or Jerry, I can have them meet me there. I've just been meeting them at the village and town office. 'cause
It
all
would be
their-
nice to have activity there with, when our signs on the door. and that kind of
Yeah,
thing,
especially
what you're
once our
saying.
signs on the door. I
Yeah, I
mean,
can,
And then,
Or yeah, you
and
just
then
have a
when we
key
have
ring for
committee
it.
meetings, if we're meeting
Try to
instead of
get
at somebody's
something.
house.
yeah,
do
we
it
could meet
there.
at the, exactly. So we've got a couple where, you know, that might be coming up. And technically, we have agreement to use their internet,
Mhm.
you know, as part of our, which was really nice.
Do we have a desk in there or a table?
Yeah.
there's desks, there's
There's
table,
I got a
chairs.
table that I stole from Jennifer right now.
filing
And there's
cabinets.
chairs.
There's shares.
Yeah.
I haven't been in it either, so.
She did
Well,
that.
yeah, so I mean, so right now, the people who have keys is Jay. And Dan, you have a couple?
I think I made 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but so if like finance, you know, so governance, if you're gonna have a governance meeting about the RFP, you're probably gonna do that over Zoom. And Sharon, all you need to do is just let me know when you need that set it up. I'll set it up and kick it off and then go away. Since the Zoom is in my name at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I can make as many keys as you feel.
Well,
you
but
need.
I'm just, I think what we have to figure out is, so you're not like, you know, call 1-800 Dan, Dan's gotta run down and open the door, Dan's
Yeah.
gotta lock the
You need
door.
a key.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not running any committee meetings, so I'm almost thinking, you know, it would make sense, you know, if like Joe had a key for, or you had a key for finance. right? So the finance committee could meet.
Mhm.
I mean, does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then governance,
Definitely,
you know, I mean, for governance, the only person who's in town is Mandy, right? So
Oh, that's
they're all
right.
gonna be, they're all gonna be Zoom meetings,
Yeah.
right? And the open meeting law would apply for those. So, seems like probably just give Joe or Carol a key, Dan, then they don't bother you, and then Scott gets a key, you have a key. I think
I
that's
get a couple.
plenty.
Is there a file cabinet there?
There is a couple of them.
Okay, good. And did you happen to buy file folders or
I
no?
did. The file cabinets that are there are the wide ones.
Okay,
They
I
both
like the,
size.
I like the hangers, but yeah, I've got, I bought all the stuff we're gonna need.
So you gotta hang
You
your file
need
folders
long
for it and
file?
stuff?
Yep.
Okay, just because I'm thinking now I'm writing checks, I need to file this stuff. and-
Yeah,
No,
and that was part of
should
the
have
reason.
everything we need. I
Do
bought
you
us-
have the hanging file folder?
I either got the hanging file folders or the fat ones that'll stand out.
Oh,
okay.
Either or.
There's something there.
I can't remember. Yeah, I bought a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, so,
Everything is there.
all right, all right.
All right, good. So, so yeah, so Dan, if you want to get a key to either Carol or Joe. And maybe it's Carol only because she's got to be going in there to file stuff.
I do have some
Yeah.
things that I'm gonna wanna.
Yeah, so yeah, if you can get her the key, then that'll be good. And the sound thing sounds great, Joe, so that'll be,
Yeah, we could start with that and see how it goes.
yeah.
You want to get
No, I
something
think
bigger?
that's
or,
perfect. It's a great start.
yeah, You don't spend hundreds on a big wooden
Mhm.
LDC. So
All right, update on Paris, Carol and Dan.
I do have an update.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the budget report certified complete, done for 2023, even, which is great. And I went in just the other day and looked at every little report that I could see in there, my understanding so far, which isn't huge, but there's an annual report, a budget report, certified financial audit, investment report, procurement report, and the dates when they're all due. Everything is within 90 days after the year end, except for our budget report for 2024, which is at least 90 days prior to year end. So it looks to me like our next Paris requirement is before 9/30/23 to have our 2024 budget in. So that's not any huge deal because it's almost gonna be like our budget right now. So I think that's where it stands. I just took a double check of it the
We're
other
gonna
day. to
need
make-
that to the town and village by, I think 9/1 is what we talked about. wasn't it?
Yeah, so
So
we'll be
so
doing
we got,
budget
so
in
we got some
August.
time there, but access is established for Dan, Tracy and I. It was nice to go back in the other day and make sure I could still get in and that things looked right. And then I guess my other question, Dan, is training, you had us all do training back when, right?
Tracy said we don't have to do it
Yeah,
again.
I did. I sent an email to Tracy on that because Jeannie's got to do it.
That was. the other
And,
piece of
and I
question.
asked her if we had to do it again because we were just starting up again and she said, no, we did not.
It's a one-time thing?
It's like she said every 3 years, if I recall from the email, would be a good idea was every 3 years, but it was, so we're all good for a couple of years.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
that's
I know. I
fair.
asked that because I thought about it when I had to send Jeannie the link. And I was like, we all have to take that class again. And-
That's what I was wondering
Yeah.
too.
I thought we did, but
Yeah, but because
I
you
thought
were
we had to
on, you
take
were
it.
copied on that email,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
remember that. She
So-
said we don't.
Okay, all right. So I think we're in good shape on Paris and I think
Good.
we're in good shape on, well, we don't have a lot going on really, so.
Right.
But it's nice to have these details feel like they're
Mhm.
under control instead of, it seemed
Accessible.
like 2 months ago, it was like nothing was like anywhere.
I
And then
know.
suddenly things are kind of,
Yeah, they're definitely.
Yeah.
doing it, which is great.
I think it feels good.
Okay, Dan, town activities.
Not a bunch. I did go to the French Festival meeting the other night. They are crying for help. If you know of anybody that is willing to step up, hasn't necessarily got to be during the French Day weekend, just organizational. We're trying to break out the committees, small committees, parking, garbage, parade, blah, blah, blah. And they're looking for anybody and everybody. Town is gonna put an ad hoc committee together to explore a joint zoning planning board. Struggling getting members to fill those positions. Nobody wants to do it. I think we're shy 1 or 2 on both the planning and the zoning. So we're looking for people to step up that might be interested. I did think of you, Carol. I know you served on the water committee before. You're a business owner. I know you're busy, but they're looking at meeting once every 2 weeks for maybe 2 or 3 months. Come back to the town board and submit kind of an update in April. I'm not asking you, but if anybody's interested, Spider would be another good one. Contractor, he's involved with people. They're just looking for a mix of people that are involved with trying to get projects started, trying to get them done. And we found that it is legal. You can do it. We haven't found any towns around that are doing it. Are you guys doing it?
If you want to reach out to Tug Hill, we have a joint ZBA that's got Champion, West Carthage, Wilna, Carthage. We've had a joint ZBA for years.
How's it work?
Each community appoints 1 member.
Wow.
Second community every year appoints a second member. They do, the zoning board does the variances for all of our communities. They have all of our laws.
And this would be in capsule for the town or for the Cape, but what they're looking at is submit your planning.
They have a plan.
Then if they need a zoning, or a variance, then the same group is going to then move from.
I don't know
planning
if they can
business.
do that. I don't know if that's legal, but we have a joint ZBA and we have a joint planning board,
Both separate.
both separate. I don't think they can do the same.
I think they checked with the,
Maybe, I don't know, it's been done.
Alright.
We have a joint
so maybe we
ZBA.
are going to have an ad hoc committee.
We have a joint ZBA and we have a joint planning board between.
But they're
the 4
separate
communities,
boards,
but they're
separate people.
Boards,
Okay.
because somebody's, I would say no, because the planning board's denying a permit and then also gonna rule on giving you a variance. I don't know if that's,
Well, based on what they're,
it may
if
be
it's,
legal.
if
I
it's
don't-
within the law, then they
It may
don't
be-
need a variance. If it's not, then they got to decide if
It may
they,
be legal. I
yeah.
haven't heard of that before, but we do have a joint ZBA and a joint planning board, so there are some.
And the whole, the
Guidelines.
bigger geographical area of yours is very interesting too. I mean,
Yeah.
That's
we-
huge.
why does Cape Vincent have to just be Cape Vincent? I mean, could it be considered to Lyme? I mean,
Could be, but everybody has their own, it's their interest. This is our interest. I don't think we'd be interested in spreading out to other townships. I don't think. I can bring it up and,
yeah, I mean, there's an example, it might be looked at anyways, and,
because I'm sure other towns and villages are having the same struggles.
right.
People aren't looking to. get
So you've
involved.
got 4 or 5 townships together?
We've got 2 villages and 2 towns.
Oh, 2 villages, 2 towns.
So, and I didn't join for a while. It was just them without West Carthage.
Mhm.
Because I had 5 active members on each board and I'm like, if they want to volunteer and be involved, I'm not gonna tell them no.
Mhm.
Right.
But then the ZBA started, nobody was involved. So I'm like, okay, now I'll join, now that I don't have 5 people.
Mhm.
We still have our own planning board. Carthage, Wilna, Champion have a joint planning board process. So it is, they're done separately. I have never heard of them done together. though.
It's a thought. Other than that, not much. That's it.
All right, cool. Thank you, Dan. Pam?
So Scott covered all the ready projects and the grant items. We're looking at, or I guess we're gonna move forward with getting an alert phone system like the school has to send out text messages for, it came up, can't remember when the water pipe broke, November,
Yeah,
early
it's
December.
early December.
And nobody knew how long it was gonna be out, and so I think Mary Rupp got 3 quotes, and it's like $1,500 a year to have everybody sign up, and so we plan on doing that. And I guess you can have pretty much unlimited messaging to people. The key will be to get them all to use their cell phones, and
Has it got to be separate? Maybe it's something the town and village could do jointly.
that would, yeah.
You could. The
I
key's
would
gonna
think
be
so.
getting them to sign up for it. 'Cause we did
Right.
it in West Carthage and we only had like 23 people. sign
Really?
up For it, so it wasn't worth it. Like nobody would give us their cell numbers.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously.
How long
like
ago, Scott?
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, there's
Mm,
been a
that'd be
big change.
Yeah,
in
I think
because
orders
there's-
on
at least the
text
school one
messaging.
is probably 3 or 4 years old, and I appreciate it. We have it through work too, and one
Right.
thing I don't appreciate is they make the duty day snow call at 4 o'clock. And ours, just to make it so you don't have to respond. Like,
Right.
we have to respond or they keep calling.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay. That's good to know.
And I think that might just be a Department of Defense thing, but.
yeah.
like,
I can check with Mary though.
I think town village.
Yeah, I mean, I
Makes
just-
sense
I
to
do
be able
too.
to
Great
offer
idea.
it to as many people as we can get.
Because even with the storm stuff, I know I saw on Facebook, like the fire department put like there's a shelter.
There was a warrant, that's the.
Yeah.
kind of thing
Yeah,
that-
like that's stuff that needs to be put out. And I think
Especially
it's
when
great.
people can't get on their computers if there's no power.
Warriors
Right.
down, trees
Yeah,
down,
At
yeah.
least your
Yeah.
text, your.
And I don't
the
know the
messages.
stats, but I know that text messaging usage over the last 4 years has just gone.
Yeah.
Right,
People don't
So,
call.
yeah.
it's all text.
Exactly.
It would
So
be
I think
convenient, like,
it's
you
a
got a
great
water
idea.
main break, like
right.
instead of having your DPW knock on everybody's door and say, hey, your water's gonna be shut off, like just
Yeah.
you can isolate the area by their address and just send them a message.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
with
it'll be
that
great.
water break, there was no notification. My son was home, he's like calling me and sending me videos. There's something wrong with the water. Like, go in the basement. If there's nothing coming out of the.
Oh, sure, so everybody thinks it's their own house. yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause you have
And he
no
did. He's
idea.
like, I already went to the basement. There's nothing wet. I'm like, then don't worry about it. I said, call Uncle Dan. He works with Village.
I did take a walk a few times that evening just to check on the progress because people were asking me. and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're digging.
Yeah.
But, so I think that'll be really useful.
That's a great
And
idea.
hopefully we'll have good participation. And then the other news was that Marty, our head of DPW, is retiring in 2024.
Hmm.
So that'll be a big change for us.
Yeah. He's been there for a long time.
Been here for a long time and
Do
does
you
a
have any
great
He
job.
doesn't even look old enough to do that.
I think he's turning 60 and he said that's his present to himself. It's
Ah.
retiring. So there are people interested already, as far as I know, a few. So I think probably won't be hard to fill, but, and like he said, he'll be around, so he'll be happy to assist and fill in
Mentor.
blanks and, yeah.
Oh, that's
So, that's about it that I can remember.
All right, super. All right. Mandy, anything on daycare?
It's not really too great of news, but there's a new business in Clayton. It's called Happy Little Kids Company, and they're opening a daycare. My understanding, they're being housed in Sponges, which is a little play center where families can go and take their kids, and I think they've kind of a drop-in daycare semi now, but they just started. I did reach out to them to see if they're all interested in having a satellite site. Vincent, and she said, this is very, very new. And, but she said it'd be something she would be willing to look into in the future. So I thought I would probably touch base again with her and the little Luke's person that I haven't had a great response with. Like springtime frame, because the sort of daycare will start kind of kicking up again, and then it'll level out for the summer, and then it'll get busy again in the fall. So I do have a meeting tomorrow night with just a friend who is interested in trying to get some older kid activities, like early teenager activities going. So we're just gonna chat about different things that fits our kids' ages.
Nice.
But community stuff, like we've just been talking in general about, like, there's the babysitter course and the Red Cross CPR course and stuff like that. We would like to, like, each of our kids have taken it separately, but something like that we could maybe bring to the community. And
Great.
so we'll see if that goes over.
Mhm.
Yeah, right, all of those stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, even trying to maybe get a youth club together, having something once a month for teens to come and even hang out up here and have a dance or have movies, have paint, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
So we're
That's
gonna,
great.
but also we both talked about having a key component to be volunteering, because we want to build that volunteer basis.
Mhm.
I'll keep you posted on.
Part of the governor's state of the state is she's committing a bunch more money again to workforce retention grants for daycares to expand and train new people and offer new sites. So the budget comes up next week. We'll see what money she's putting towards it. But
I
that's
did
another
mention
one
that
of
we
the-
have a grant writer. I kind of use your name, and not use your name, but your services and things. I said, we have a grant writer who might be helped. Get some grants.
So they're looking to have more money available for
Good.
existing operations to train new people and expand or open. new
Okay, that's good. Yeah, let me know what the budget says once it comes out. When would those grants do, and like, maybe they come out in the budget? When
Yeah,
they'd be due?
when she announces the budget, she'll announce how much money she has, and usually there's this time frame within her scope.
Okay, could you keep me posted on that, and then I'll push them again according to the timelines.
Mandy, after the meeting, I have an answer. This one's been playing in my head for a while, so
Okay.
we'll see. All right, that, now we move on to new business. So now we are going to do some board appointments. So resolution 102 for 2023. This one is the, I'm sorry, I've got these out of order. I need 1.1. Yes. There's 1.1. There we go. All right. So this is the village or the appointments for the board. For those of you who hopefully looked online, basically these are the terms. So Nadira is a 1 year, Joe's a 1 year, I'm a 3 year, Jeannie, you'd be 2 years, Mandy would be 3 years, Sharon 2 years, and Carol 3 years. And that's starting this year because we all sort of agreed that was when we would begin. So I need someone to motion to bring the resolution to the floor, and then I need a second, and then we'll vote.
So moved.
Dan, thank you. And I need a second.
One second.
Thank you, Mandy. All right, and now for the roll call. Nadira is absent. Joe? I'm a yes. Jeannie, I think you can vote on this one.
Oh, yes.
Mandy?
Yes,
Sharon?
she's muted.
You're muted.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
Keep it open because we're going to have a bunch of these going quick. Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Done. All right, resolution 2 is the officers. So that would be putting me as chair, Mandy as vice chair, Carol as treasurer, and Jeannie as secretary. I need a motion on bringing that to the floor.
Motion.
Okay, I got Carol. Dan, I'll put you second. I think she was an infinitesimal.
Finally, I
moment
got one in there.
Before she's, all right, so now going down the roll call. Joe?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mandy?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan? Pam?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Number 3, this is the budget. So there was a separate document in that same folder, which is a printout of the budget that was certified in Paris. So you guys can all see that. I need a motion to bring that to the floor.
A motion.
Thank you, Mandy. And a second. Second. Thank you, Pam. All right, and going down, Joe.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Jeannie?
Yes.
Mandy?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, she doesn't agree. All right. All right, that takes care of all of the beginning of the year stuff. So we've got that done.
Mary, you didn't sign another one.
Oh, thank you. All right, good. We got those, and Joe will get those on the website, and they are all in our resolutions folder. Just so we've got those. All right, the last thing that I wanted to just to bring up is Pam nicely said in a previous meeting that we need to start to work on our strategy, and she was right. And I said, "Oh my God, until I get all the paperwork done, my head will explode." But we probably should start thinking about it. And so I just wanted to have a bit of an open discussion And who are the groups that we should have strategic partnerships with, right? So we can start thinking about, so what do we really want to work on, right? I mean, Scott will say, in May, grant season is starting, and I think over the next few months, we should probably start deciding where we want to focus our time and energy. So, I mean, for one thing, I think, when it gets closer to people coming back, we probably want to have some kind of a public meeting that, we could gather community input on what they might want us to focus on. But I was thinking, like, we talked about the Jefferson County group, and should we have, I'm just wondering, like, do we divide and conquer with different groups that in the short term, we should be just saying, so what are you working on, bringing that back to the group, having some of these partnerships so we've got input.
Not just that, I think like with the Jefferson County IDA, that maybe you should invite them to a meeting and have them present to you what they have to offer that we can be promoting as far as business incentives.
Yeah.
Local loans, like low interest loans or tax deduction kind of programs that they have, or the mortgage exemption tax for businesses. So maybe things that you can offer, but you can assist somebody that wants to come in and connect them to the right people. So maybe this, I think for you guys, that would be the best first partnership, is to get Dave Zen back in the Jefferson County group to come up here and sit down with you guys and talk, and maybe just get a background of what they do and what they offer, and that you could help promote and like be that go-between as we look to not just do community projects, but really look for economic development.
No, that's a very good idea.
So we probably should, at least what my thought was, is if we sort of figured out a list of these groups that, and then say, okay, I'm going to be the board liaison to that person. So using this Dave Zembeck as an example, somebody said, I'll be the liaison to that. I'll make the first call to him. I'll get him on the agenda for the February meeting or the March meeting, whatever meeting works for them. But, sort of, and then they've now created that relationship for the board, was my idea. So it isn't just, one of us running around trying to have all these meetings and discussions. I mean, what do you guys think about that as an approach?
Yeah. Tourism Council. I mean,
All right.
there's a lot of different.
I'm sorry, what was that one, Dan?
Development Authority of the North Country.
And the Thousand Islands International Tourism Council.
That's not much land trust. What if we all just brainstorm the ones that we can think of and come back next time? And if we have already personal connections, utilize them.
Yeah.
And just say, I'll volunteer to be the POC for this one, because I know Sally that's on the board or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And do we want to try to get one group to come, next month, we'll have brainstorm and maybe lay them out each different meeting. Okay, we're gonna get Tilt to come next week, and then
Yeah.
the following month. And
right. Yeah, we could do that. I'm trying to, I like that idea,
but
but
that's
I'm
to drag
thinking,
it out.
yeah, I'm trying to think of how do we compress it a bit.
Yeah.
Where, it could be,
Schedule one meeting and ask for a representative from every agency,
Yeah.
and you guys make a presentation on, this is what we've developed, and this is what we're doing, and this is our mission. How do we build partnerships with you guys?
Yeah.
And then
So we would schedule a separate meeting, not a board meeting, and an informational meeting where they come to, we meet with them and we
invite
get.
every one of those organizations to an informational meeting where you guys put a presentation on, this is our goal, this is our mission.
Mhm.
How can we partner with each of you?
That's good.
I think we should shoot to try and do that like in April or May, when it's some of our other people might be back in the area. And it gives us time to build who we want to invite.
yeah.
And
So,
to work on our strategic plan that
Right.
outlines what it is we plan on doing.
Right.
So we have
well,
all the-
it's like, it's almost to me, it's almost a chicken and the egg,
You're right.
right? So I think the input from some of these groups might, inform my point of view on, well, what should we be? What's reasonable for us to be working on? I mean, I think there's some stuff in the community that we need to gather up, like just from residents, probably the Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
We kind of have you guys for the town and village, but, you know, what other groups like internal to town should we be getting input from?
I
Yeah,
think we
just-
should,
Go ahead, Sharon.
oh, I was gonna say, I think it'd be good to reach out and to all the local business owners, kind of, you know, see if they're willing to all meet together, because they're the ones who are sort of living it. If we're talking about economic development, they can say, here's the good, bad, and the ugly of, you know, running a business in the Cape. And even additionally, some of them might be looking towards, you know, if they knew there was grant money, maybe they would expand their current business, you know. So I think it'd be, you know, worthwhile to reach out to the local businesses.
That was one reason I was thinking the chamber, but my understanding is a lot of the local businesses did not join the chamber this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think if we reach out to the business owners directly too, you know, even just to say, just their input.
Just told me that like none of the downtown businesses joined this year, and they got
Okay.
all these new businesses from Chameau and Clayton, and
That's terrible.
they all paid the 150.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's
Terrible.
So, like,
Did she say what?
she said a couple of Joy told her today that they weren't joining her this week because couldn't afford the $150 membership. She said that they were saying more.
I had had another business owner tell me that they just didn't feel the chamber was giving them the value for.
The amount of
Chamber has
additional
done so much.
exposure in the last year with
I
the
know.
change has been
I know.
Yeah, she just told me that before this
Yeah.
meeting.
Unreal.
So I don't know. I mean, that was one business owner that told me that. And
Yeah, I don't, she was just saying. she
yeah,
said that.
no.
She said, like,
And they
none-
said that none of the downtown businesses have
That's what
joined.
she
So,
told me. She said
and if
that.
you saw what she posted on Facebook of all the businesses, none of the local
Yeah,
downtown
she said
businesses.
she got a
joined.
whole bunch of
I
new
had
ones
not
from like
picked up on
Chameau and out of town.
Yeah.
But-
So,
So maybe
but
one of our first things is to do some kind of scholarship to give to them so that they join
That's
the
exactly
well,
chamber.
but
where
I
mine
think the
went.
town does give the chamber money, right?
No, I'm saying for the business owners.
Oh,
to
yeah.
encourage,
I feel like there has to be something more. I think, like, that's, I'm sorry, $150.
Yeah.
I know, like, maybe this time of year is not the best time to hit them up for their membership,
but
but
that's,
the amount of work that Christy has done. this
The level of
last couple years-
social media and posting
Right.
and things she does is just,
I
it's
guess
just
there-
way
yeah.
above what we had.
But I
and
mean, like I went, just to
Now's
give
the
you,
wrong time not to
yeah, but just
rejoin.
give you an
Yeah.
idea, I went in to get something from the deli at Aubrey's at 11:30 yesterday, and I was the first customer they had.
Well,
You know, so I mean, I do understand that, you know, I mean, we've got to find a way to get more year-round residents. I mean,
yeah.
which is all part of our,
Right.
it's part of our mission,
strategic our
but the
mission.
honestly, and when you have a conversation with people, they're like, you know, it's always the same old ideas. So I think we have to come up with new ideas, and I, you know, that's why
Well,
I'm
for the
looking to get more
well, then
input than
for the
9
chamber, a
people.
simple
10
one
people.
is, okay, we're gonna collect our dues in July instead of January.
Definitely,
Yeah.
She just-
definitely.
She just told me a bunch of events she's got planned for February to get people out. That
Okay.
sounded really good.
She's
Yeah,
very creative.
yeah,
She
she
is.
is. But
You know,
go ahead.
one thing that I might suggest is that we do focus groups. So whenever you're trying to build a strategic plan, instead of just going ad hoc with ideas, really based on our mission, if our primary objective is economic development, then what are those interested parties that would impact economic development for the Cape? If it is year-round residents is another primary mission. What would be a focus group of individuals who might have insightful ideas? And go back to our mission and then identify focus groups. And we won't be all inclusive, nor will we ever be, but to get certain focus groups that will come together and provide candid feedback, not just negativity, but candid feedback. And then you build a structured focus group agenda where you solicit the same information from each of those focus groups. That then builds a matrix that you can build off of that can help us with a strategic plan. Because if we just go out and do a general public forum, you're going to get that 10% of the population that likes to be heard. Not always happy or not always positive, but really be strategic in your focus groups, and then you can gain intelligence. Like I think about year-round residents, maybe the faith community, the religious leaders of our town have insight there. There's could be a variety of different types of focus groups that could really give insight. And it doesn't have to be in person if indeed they don't want that type of engagement, because maybe many of them, like myself, are not residing in Cape this winter, but we could send them a survey, or we could send them the monkey surveys, really easy things that they can fill out. And that way you can get quick data. It can have some connectivity to our mission, and we can identify folks that may give us, some insightful information to ponder.
Yeah, no,
So-
I think that's a good idea. I like that. I think the issue is, how do you get, people into a focus group? I mean, I think about, I did put us in what's happening for every month when our meetings are, people don't come out. I'm wondering.
No, you identify them, you invite. You don't ask, you invite, you value their opinion. So it's
Yeah.
all about, in today's world, as you guys know, I'm a headhunter. I recruit talent every day. And you don't wait for them to come to you. You invite them and you compliment them based on their background, that we would value your opinion. And so you switch the paradigm of not asking for volunteers, but ask for their input because they're valued.
That's a good point.
And that kind of switches the participation rate. Something to think about.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I like that approach. I'm thinking, the other thing we could do to supplement that would be, a kind of a structured interview with some individuals. So I think about, the local business owners that are here in the winter that, they don't have a lot of time. So could you set up even individual, to try to get them all
Yeah.
together, I think would be
No.
really difficult, but we could have, what are the forum questions, the focus group questions, and then just use those in one-on-one interviews, and then just bring that information in too.
Yeah, you divide and conquer it. But again, in today's world, everyone is so busy that they have to have what's in it for me and why me. And so you have to entice motivation to participate. And it doesn't matter if it's whatever in the world we do, we all do it. We've joined this board because we're motivated to support Cape and economic development. But again, I think that way you can get maybe 3 different types of focus groups based on our mission, reconnected to our mission, because that our strategic plan should always be connected to our mission. And then instead of trying to get world hunger, identify 3 or 4 contacts, which is resource-wise is viable for us to obtain, and then get that information, bring it back to the board, and at least we have a starting point. We can always add. We don't have to figure out a strategic plan from A to Z. We can start with, okay, we're on track. This is something that may be of value, and then move forward from there and do more in-depth engagements. So that's
I think Bandy.
whatever I try to tackle.
She got one hit right on the head with the youth. That's
Right.
a good start. I've always thought about, we need to do more for our seniors.
Mhm.
Our population is elderly for the most part.
Yeah.
So, no, good points.
So how do we want to proceed? What's, I just wanted to bring this up so we could start talking about it, but what's sort of our next step in this space? What would we like to do?
I kind of like Scott's idea of getting a presentation together. And I think it could be a presentation that we could give to the different focus groups, if we look at it that way, and get the kind of the business players or the agency, I don't know, the state agencies, the DINKs, the tilts, and get those together. And then also we could even pare it down and do a couple pictures with some blurbs about what our mission is, because if you put it into visuals, people aren't going to read our mission statement, even if it's 3 sentences. But if you put some pictures of what we've done along with kind of connecting it to our mission, get that out to the community and say, we want to do these focus groups, contact us, or, or invite them,
Invite
go to
them.
the churches like you suggested, go to the businesses, go to the school, the chamber, and then just start. So I think we need to build kind of almost a presentation and then build questions that we want to focus on from there.
Mandy, would you like to take the lead on putting the presentation together? Okay, well, no, because I'm just thinking, it's good if we can, all right, so Mandy's gonna take the lead, and then, and then when she gets it, then she'll put it on the share drive and we can all comment and add things and things like that.
Yes.
Now, we had last year, when we first started and we threw stuff all at the board and we had like a scatter chart and we saw where they all intersected. Where's that? Where is that
That's
document? Is
the,
it,
the thing we put together, I think that's in the share drive. It says, I think it's joint board presentation. I think it might be.
I want to
under
look
there.
at that again, because that was kind of what we're talking, a little bit of what. we're
Well,
talking
it was
about.
sort of our brainstorming,
Right,
right, of
right,
what
right.
we came up with and ideas of what we might want to
We
pursue.
were trying to figure out our mission a year ago.
So everybody could look at that and our mission statement and maybe email Mandy any thoughts that we have, so she
Yeah.
can incorporate them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
We just did something like this in Carthage, West Carthage, like we hired MRB actually to do a downtown business resiliency plan. And they did kind of this, and then they did focus groups over Zoom. So like we had all the healthcare providers on Zoom for 30 minutes about what are your obstacles? What can we help you with? We did school, we had the
Right.
superintendent, and some school staff members on a 30-minute Zoom. And we collected all that data. So I could maybe send you some of the presentations we use, at least to give you an outline.
That'd be
and
great.
That'd be
scope.
great.
So
Excuse myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to tell Karen happy birthday.
I will.
Oh, gosh, yes.
You're late for her birthday.
Too used to it.
All right, so Mandy, you're gonna kind of work on presentation. People will send you ideas. Do we also want to just? I
Thank
could,
you all.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
thanks, Dan.
You did.
Create just sort of a list of partnership organizations. Do we want to just put a thing out on the share drive and people just add ideas to it?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll take care of that. And then you guys we could just add them and then sort of get a list of who might be in that joint meeting or however individual things. Good. Jeannie, you seem to have some really good ideas in this
Mhm.
space. So if you want to share some ideas or start to sketch something out about how that might look, that would be great to get
I'm
us.
gonna go back to what Carol said about that brainstorming session, because I'm trying to educate myself, but the more I can gain intel and catch up on all the things that you guys have already accomplished, that's gonna only give me ideas. But I agree with Scott, you can use Zoom, for your focus groups too. You want to make it as convenient as possible to get participation. So you can do Survey Monkeys, you can do all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things out there we can leverage that are very inexpensive, but I think you gotta invite versus ask. And I
Yeah,
think
I
that-
really
that's-
good.
I think that's my biggest takeaway from tonight is your
Yeah.
point of invite and make people feel why we want their opinion, and then you get them.
We
involved
value
again.
them.
Yeah,
We did that
exactly.
too.
No, it's
We did
big.
2 surveys. We did a residential survey and a business survey, and then we all put it on Facebook, and you just click the link and fill out the survey and put your address, and they were what services are missing, I can give you those questions. We have 2 different sets of questions that we
Perfect.
use.
You've been a
Good.
wealth of information tonight. too,
Yes, you
Scott.
have. Thank you.
And I forwarded, before you brought it up, I forwarded you my presentation from the March meeting that lists all the projects we've completed and then all the projects we've scoped.
Oh,
So if you want to drop that in the shared folder, because I don't
Yeah,
have access to
so that
folder. So
you
you
should-
have it.
You should have access to that.
I don't have any folder access.
What?
I can't see any folders.
Who can do that?
On-
No, I-
On my Google, I can't. see
Scott
any
can't
folders.
do our shared stuff.
You can't get to the shared drive?
I don't see any shared drive or folders under my,
Because when
Ooh.
everything I put out has both your WPC
I mean,
and your
click
Gmail.
on- I can click on all the attachments you send in the emails and see them, but I don't see any folders for me to access.
On the shared drive.
I don't see a shared drive.
Sharon, would you mind resend the link to him and check that? Because I see him on
Yeah.
all of as an editor.
Sure, okay, yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Where do I add?
Go to your drive.
Oh, good. Joe's helping.
Okay, are you doing that right now? Okay, cool. I was
Yeah, doing
actually
it right
checking.
now, we might be okay.
Yeah, check from your end, Sharon, though. Just check on
To make sure, yeah.
access, but I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that he's got
I
access. to
thought
everything.
everybody, yeah.
No, the only thing.
And then
I
we'll have
can
to-
share
we'll have
is
to
the
add
work
Jamie now.
Right, I don't know if I'm on the active share drive. I may have attachments. I've got to look. Because Mary sent me a ton of attachments and I thought I could actively work on the share drive, but
Okay.
let me do some more work on that, Sharon. I'll get back to
I don't have a
Okay,
shared
sounds good.
folder, but I can see all Sharon's documents. They've been shared to me, but I have no shared folder or anything.
So so you don't see a resolutions folder?
No, no folders.
Oh.
I've just got the three things Sharon shared, the vendor responsibility questions, the proposal template and. board
Oh, that's where,
responsibility.
And are you on your Gmail account or your
My
WPC?
Gmail.
You're on, let me double check, Scott, because I thought you had that. He should have access to everything, Sharon. Is there a way you can do that from your end as the
yeah,
administrator?
let me look. How do I have to remember how I,
Because when I look at it, it shows him as an editor. That's weird. But I wonder if there's a higher level thing that wasn't.
I know, how do I, yeah, that's what I'm looking to see. Maybe, I don't know, Joe, do you know? I thought,
I'll look around, see if
I
I
don't
can
want
figure it out
that.
another way.
We don't have to put you on the spot, Sharon, but
You're
take a
fine.
look.
Yeah, I'll have a
Just
look
see,
around.
and
I was
I'll
gonna say-
check my end, because I think when I look in there and it says who can look at this, it shows you as editor.
Maybe it's just not saved in my shared with me. If somebody can just share a link with me to it, I can join back in maybe.
Yeah, which I think Sharon can do. So we'll
Right,
try that.
yeah,
And
so I was
do it
just,
to his-
yeah, I'll have a look at that. I was just trying to find where the heck it says that I can be, before it seems like I could just email people the link and I'm having a brain
Yeah.
look into that.
But I
So
gave him my presentation, which has, I was giving it to you so you can look at all of our projects.
Yeah,
and
so you can
dollar
put it on the
amounts and
website.
everything, but it also has other things that we discussed that night about like these ongoing projects and goals.
Yeah, I'll put that in the folder tonight, short term.
Okay, and then I just need someone to motion to adjourn and then thank you, Mindy. And Carol's a second. Thank you. All right. Good, lots done. Thank
Lots
you,
done.
guys.
An hour and a half. Well done.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. We'll
All right.
talk soon. All right, see ya.
Okay, take-
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.